welcome to Business Express. And I'm joined this morning by Daisy Erharhire, Customer Representative Specialist at Raven Bank. Good morning to you, Daisy.
Good morning, Omas. Good to be here. Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
I tried, but it was under the radar, just mostly away from what would make me spend. But good, back to you.
Yeah.
So for business this morning, I understand that, well, like you said, I hope it was good, but my response was more of maybe I was avoiding taxation. That's why I stayed more indoors. So this brings us to our conversation this morning, Daisy. I understand we have on the table for business experts endorsing the federal government's plan to tax what you call the affluent Nigerians, and put it other way, rich Nigerians. That's what the implication is. So I'd like to help us understand what the federal government's proposal regarding taxation for wealthy Nigerians, and why are we turning our attention to them now? Is it a crime to be rich now?
So I want to believe that recently maybe some kind of audit has been done amongst income earners in Nigeria, ranking from the high income earners to low income earners, and it's been discovered that the big guys have not been doing what they're expected to do in respect to their tax, and the pressure has been more on the low earners. I remember those days when I was much younger, whenever you hear that tax official at your office, at your place of work or shop, there's this fear that's just instilled in you because the tax rate for them is usually on the high side. However, it's supposed to be the other way around. The high income earners are supposed to be the one ensuring that paying the higher rates in tax so that it's evenly distributed amongst everybody and the pressure is lesser for the low earner guys. And of course, at the in return also, due to the amount of tax revenue that comes in from the high guys, there's an equal distribution of income out in the system, and of course, it boosts the economy's revenue as well. So, for some reason, the federal government have opened up and said, okay, these guys have to do their own part so that we can manage the situation with respect to the rate at which these low income earners are paying tax on their end. So yeah, so basically that's where the government is stepping in to see how they can get these guys to remit their tax based on how much they earn or the wealth they have in their arsenal.
Off of that also, I still want to stay on that first question, which brings me to, are the rich in Nigeria avoiding tax, or they are paying, or as we look at it right now, they are paying less than they should pay?
Yeah. So I cannot categorically say that they are avoiding tax here because I'm not in that position, so I don't know why they want to avoid tax. However, it's something that they're expected to do because it's in line with the laws that have been established since 2011, according to the Personal Income Law Act. So I do not know why they want to run away from payment of tax. If the low income earners, are diligent at doing that, then they should also be very much in a position to play their own part, do their own part as well. No one needs to call them out the way the government has called them out to remind them that they're expected to do what they should be doing. So I really don't, I really cannot see what's the reason behind it, but let's see how this turns out. Maybe most of them will step up at the end of the day.
So for me, I look at them and I see that they are less, let's just give them for the benefit of that and say they are 2% of the entire population. So how come what we need to augment what most people pay would be in the hands of, let's say, 1% or 2% of the population? That's what I can't wrap my head around right now. And it goes back to the question again, is it a crime to be rich in Nigeria or in any society? Or does it look like a progressive kind of taxation? As your condition improves in society, so will your tax go?
Yes, so that's the way it's supposed to be actually, right? So it's not a crime to be wealthy in Nigeria. However, I believe the government has has our data to an extent, right? And to an extent knows like the net worth of most of these individuals. So by the time they're going through the records of tax has been remitted, maybe at the end of the month or quarter or year or however they review it, it doesn't balance out for them. So it's not a crime to be rich, but it's a law that states that has been established in the system that as if you earn on the high side, you're expected to pay higher tax rate because you don't expect there's no way poverty will be eradicated from the system if the low income earners are still paying almost equivalent tax rates to what the high earners are supposed to pay, right? It's not going to be balanced at the end of the day, and you're going to put more pressure on the low earners. And when you say, oh, we're trying to, at the end of the day, when you're saying, oh, we're trying to come out of poverty, it will not be achieved because from the little that you're earning, you're paying exorbitant tax rate. You're taking a large part of your income to pay for to cover up for the taxes that has been allocated to you. At the end of the day, you're left with little or nothing to spend for yourself or for your family or children. Meanwhile, the other guys too are paying the same thing that you're paying. It's not balanced. Like it's not balanced. I kind of like agree with the system on this one.
Surely it looks like life itself, like they say on the street, this life no balance. But let's get back a bit here.
Yeah, yeah,
I like our clients listening this morning to know that's about the listener. We call them clients here because of the way they are so integral to our conversation. So I like them to know that they can also be part of this conversation this morning by sending their thoughts onto 0809 444 0981 as the experts endorse federal government's plan to tax affluent, wealthy Nigerians. In other words, that's what Daisy is helping us unpack this morning for Business Express on Smooth 98.1 FM. So let's get your thoughts. But so we go back to it again. How will the financial experts, how do they view this government's proposal to tax wealthy Nigerians?
Okay, so they're very much in support of it. Like they're very much in support of it as they believe that it's in the right direction in ensuring that there's a more equitable tax system, right? Like you initially stated, basically an equitable tax system is supposed to be a system where the burden is reduced from the low income earners to a burden reduced from low income earners. So it's better that
Mhm,
individuals, businesses that earn on the high side, you should be paying tax higher, right? And those on the on the low side that earn low incomes should pay, lesser. So the more funds you have, the more income you earn, the more wealth that you acquire, your tax rate increases, right? And of course, it's also tax it could also be tax equitable when cases where exemptions and deductions are made for low income earners. Like I said previously, if you're remitting your tax as a low income earner and maybe it's on the side for you, exemptions can be made for you. So maybe there will be no tax imposed on education for your child or childcare expenses so that at the end of the day, whatever is left for you after you've remitted your tax, it's enough to fend for you, your family, your business, and whatsoever. So yeah, they are very much supportive of the idea, and hopefully it would balance things amongst the population with respect to income. Yeah.
This brings me to one of the very vocal proponents in terms of economic matters to weighing in on this issue. I'm talking about Dr. Muda Yusuf of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, also speaking. So, what's the role, according to him, of this high net worth individuals in progressive tax system?
Okay, so of course, the income distribution amongst population, then looking at also boosting the government revenue, right? He believes like he believes that their tax remittance is not equivalent to how much they earn, is not equivalent to how much their businesses profit. So they need to like step up and ensure that they are diligent in paying their tax according to the income they receive and how the businesses, the profits made from their businesses, because this is concerned. It feels the remittance that's being made from the air is not equivalent to the lifestyle they're living as
Mm,
well. So he feels that by the time they do their part, it will boost the economies revenue, and of course, like I said earlier, resting the burden on the low income earners, basically.
There's still one more person also who weighed in on this, much as I know there are other experts, but that's talking about Anthony DK's, describing the government's proposal in terms of constitutionality. Can we also look at it from that aspect?
So, in terms of the constitutionality, basically, he's trying to say that this proposal that the government has brought to light is actually um, in law in align with the legal framework that has been um, created around tax law in Nigeria. So it's very much legal for high earners to actually remit higher tax. So there's nothing to be worried about. So they should just pretty much abide to the law, as it's not something that is new compared to other countries, other developing countries, other countries
Yes.
that have developed in economy. It's pretty much the same thing that they do. He made reference to South Africa, who have started implementing this since 1990s, and it's boosted their tax revenue by 60% or so. And he also makes reference to the Personal Income Act 2011, where he stated that um, there was an exemption that was removed that granted president of federal government to not pay tax, but that was removed as when it was amended and published in 31st of January 2012. So
Mm.
he made reference to that so as long as you earn legitimately in Nigeria, you're expected to pay tax, whether you are in the federal, state, or state level. So as long as you earn, you're expected to pay tax, and it is in the law. So everybody is expected to abide to the law. So this is not just targeted at the wealthy people, it goes across
Okay.
to everybody.
So one more final word for you before we get into the messages we see already piling up. What's the federal government goal in terms of tax to GDP ratio, revenue target, and how does it plan to achieve it? If you can do this in less than a minute.
So, first of all, Mr. Jack Adenichi made reference to the fact that currently Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is around 10.8%, and we're currently ranking the lowest. We're currently at the lowest points in respect to tax remitters in the world. So he's looking at targeting 18% within the next 3 years. And one of the ways of doing this is to ensure that everybody that's particularly targeting the high income earners should ensure that they remit the exact rate they should be remitting, the exact percentage they should be remitting, so that this would boost the economy's revenue and, of course, help them provide public services for the citizens in Nigeria, basically. So I think that's how the government intends to go around it to achieve their goal in the next 3 years.
So this brings us now to the wrap on the show this one in Business Express. And so, but it would be nice for us to get in the messages from our clients, listeners. And so Frank says, good morning, guys. Honestly, I don't think I understand the basis of this conversation. Aren't we currently running a progressive tax rate system? What's this noise about? Be rich, that's Frank speaking there. Doesn't just can't get it right now. But let's drift away to Tyre this morning. Despite paying taxes to the government, these high net worth individuals still pick up the slack after left by government and make provisions for road, security, and other amenities. In
Yeah.
open season, it's open season for the tax authority. I feel like these guys would only evolve out to avoid paying more taxes than evading same. So you can see why I asked, is it a crime to be rich in a country in West Africa? Provide your security, you provide your own light transformer. So what is it? Anyway, let's see what Oluboroko says here. I think the president, Tinubu, is widening the tax net, especially on the affluent, that's wealthy in society. He has been very successful in that regard here in Lagos, and I expect him to be successful out there, that's at the federal level. However, it's not taxing the affluent in society that will solve our economic problems. Rather, managing these funds well matters a lot. Would I find Tokwe is in here? Are taxes really needed since we have oil? Qatar and many Middle East countries do not collect taxes, and they're doing exceptionally well. Taxation feels like theft. That's what Tokwe from Lagos feels.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is this message for me? Okay. Then I've got Yinka Bolu final message here, just widen the net, period. So we're done.
All right.
So Daisy Erharhire, thank you so much for your time. Hope to talk to you tomorrow again on Business Express at 6:30.
All right then. Thank you so much for having me. As always, do enjoy
Have a
the
great
best.
day.
All right then.
Bye. And to everyone who sent in a message and to the listener, I will say thank you all very much. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.